Sirens. Tires screaming against hot asphalt. 3 patrol cars slam into the parking lot of Riverside Trust Bank at 11:04 on a Tuesday morning, and Officer Reyes is already out of the vehicle before it fully stops, hand on his holster, eyes scanning. The dispatcher's voice crackles in his earpiece one more time. Suspect is male, approximately 5'11", yellow safety vest, blue shirt, black face mask. Approach with caution. Reyes looks up. He counts 1, 2, 5, 8. 15 men, all standing in the parking lot, all wearing yellow safety vests, blue shirts, and black face masks. Every single one. His hand drops away from his holster. His mouth opens. Nothing comes out. What the? His partner, Officer Dunn, says from behind him. Somewhere in that crowd of identical strangers was a man who had just stolen nearly $500,000 in broad daylight. And none of them, not one officer on scene, had any idea which one it was. This is the story of Daniel Voss. A man so precise, so methodical, so frighteningly calculated, that he didn't just rob a bank, he made it mathematically impossible to catch him. Almost. The chaos that followed was something Officer Reyes would later describe in court as the most disorienting moment of my career. He moved toward the group, voice raised. Nobody move. Hands where I can see them. Some men obeyed. Others looked around, baffled. One shouted, "I'm here for a job interview." Another answered, "Me too, man." Reyes grabbed his radio. Dispatch, 15 individuals matching the suspect description. All identical. I cannot make a positive ID. The dispatcher paused. Say again, officer. 15 men. Same vest. Same shirt. Same mask. While supervisors were looped in and officers debated how to legally detain innocent-looking job applicants, the window was closing. By the time backup arrived, something became horribly clear. One of the 15 was gone. By the time they realized the trick, Reyes would later say, the real target was already gone. To understand how Daniel Voss got to that parking lot, you have to go back further. At 22, Daniel was everything a small Midwestern city was proud of. Division I running back. Academic scholarship. His coaches called him once in a generation. Then a defensive lineman landed on his knee at the wrong angle. One snap. Career over. What followed was quiet and slow. A painkiller prescription that became 2. Then 3. Then something cheaper, bought in a parking lot at 2 a.m. His girlfriend Maya sat across from him one night and said, "Daniel, I don't know who you are anymore." He had no answer. By 26 his small business was drowning in debt. And somewhere in the wreckage, something shifted. He stopped seeing chaos. He started seeing systems. He wasn't reckless, the FBI analyst on his case would later write. He was desperate. And desperate people with disciplined minds are the most dangerous kind. For 3 months, Daniel drove past Riverside Trust Bank every Tuesday. He'd sit at the coffee shop across the street and write. Timing. Patterns. Personnel. The armored truck arrived between 11 o'clock and 11:07 a.m. every week. The guard, Frank, always struggled with 2 heavy bags, setting one down for 38 to 44 seconds. A camera on the northeast corner had a blind spot behind a parking pillar. He measured it by pacing it slowly, phone to his ear. He wrote, guard distracted, 38 to 44 seconds. Blind spot, confirmed. Window, viable. But one problem remained. He was still one man. One face. One description. The moment someone saw him running, it was over. That's when the idea hit. The OODA loop, the military decision-making framework, teaches that every human response takes time: observe, orient, decide, act. Flood the observed stage with too much identical information and the whole system jams. What if he didn't hide? What if he multiplied himself? He wrote a fake job listing. Outdoor labor. $30 an hour. Strict dress code, yellow safety vest, blue shirt, black face mask. Meeting point, Riverside Trust Bank parking lot. Tuesday. 11 a.m. 41 people responded. 15 showed up. 15 strangers who had no idea they were about to become human camouflage. Tuesday morning. 10:58 a.m. Daniel parked 3 blocks away, walked to the lot, and joined the group. Nobody questioned him. He looked exactly like everyone else. He stood near the middle, hands relaxed, watching the street. His heart rate, he would later tell investigators, was slower than he expected. He'd rehearsed this so many times it felt almost familiar. 11:02 a.m. The armored truck rounded the corner. Daniel watched Frank climb out, move to the rear, pull open the heavy door. 2 bags. Reached for both. Shifted his grip. Set one down. 38 seconds. Daniel moved. Calm. Purposeful. The pepper spray already in his hand. He came up from Frank's blind side and deployed it in one practiced motion. Frank cried out, stumbled backward. Daniel grabbed both bags. Turned. And walked, not ran, walked, straight toward the tree line. Behind him the crowd erupted. Shouting. Confusion. Someone screamed. What just happened? By the time Frank hit the ground, Daniel was already in the trees. The creek behind the bank was shallow, 8 inches deep, running east under a canopy of oak and brush. 2 weeks earlier, Daniel had waded through it wearing fishing waders, pretending to survey the land. Nobody paid attention. He'd anchored an inflatable tube to a cable system strung between 2 trees, just enough to carry the bags while he moved. Silent. Low. Invisible to every camera and every road above. While police flooded the parking lot, Daniel moved steadily through the creek in the opposite direction. He emerged 400 meters downstream, stripped off the vest and mask, changed into clothes sealed in a bag 2 days earlier, and got into a waiting car. He drove the speed limit. Stopped at every red light. He was 11 miles away before the first bolo was broadcast. 3 weeks passed. Nothing. The FBI joined. The job posting was scrubbed. The prepaid number dead. All 15 applicants interviewed, none had met the man who placed the ad. Supervisory Special Agent Carla Nwosu sat with her team and said it plainly. He planned this better than we investigate. Go wider. They canvassed every business and resident within 4 blocks. Every camera, angled wrong or degraded. The case was going cold. Then a junior agent interviewed Raymond, a man who slept most nights under a transit shelter half a block from the bank. Raymond was quiet. Suspicious. But he talked. He'd noticed a man near the tree line 2 Tuesdays before the robbery. Something felt off. Raymond had a habit from years of having his belongings stolen. When something felt wrong, he wrote it down. He handed Nwosu a folded receipt. In the margin, neat block letters, a license plate number. The room went still. The plate traced to a rental. The rental to a prepaid card purchased at a pharmacy 2 towns over, captured on an interior camera. Combined with a partial from a traffic camera near the creek exit, the FBI built a composite. 3 days later, Daniel's former college roommate saw it on the news and called the tip line. Within a week, Daniel discarded a coffee cup. DNA collected. Matched to skin cells inside one of the stolen bags, found emptied in a storage unit 6 weeks after the robbery. It was over. They arrested him at 7:14 on a Thursday morning outside a grocery store, eggs and orange juice in hand. No chase. No struggle. He looked at Agent Mosu as the cuffs went on and said, quietly, the creek. I knew the creek was the weakness. It wasn't the creek, she said. He thought for a moment. The guy by the shelter. The guy by the shelter. Daniel closed his eyes. Then nodded, like a man accepting a wrong answer on a proof he'd been certain about. In his confession, he walked investigators through everything. The surveillance. The decoys. The cable system. He'd accounted for cameras, response times, forensics, even police psychology under pressure. He had not accounted for Raymond. He was sentenced to 11 years. The case became a training reference at 2 federal law enforcement academies. Mosu ended every lecture with the same line, Daniel Voss was one of the most operationally intelligent criminals I've encountered in 20 years. And he was caught by a man sleeping under a bus shelter with a pencil and a receipt. You can study systems. You can engineer the perfect moment. But you cannot predict people. You cannot account for the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, the ones nobody thinks to factor in. The perfect plan doesn't fail because of what you see. It fails because of who sees you. If this story kept you locked in, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me which part got you, and subscribe. New stories every week. You won't want to miss what's coming.